Hello, Instas. No, actually, YouTubers, I should say. Hope you're well. You join us in, well, some would call it a house, some may call it a shed. But believe it or not, this was originally a shed, and it now has plaster on it. So, welcome to the channel, welcome to Stories with Sash, and as you'd expect, this is a slightly different format because we're not in a car, and we're not, well, we're in a shed. So, we're going to be talking about a series of different things to do with cars today. We're going to talk about why we like cars and what our aspirations are in terms of projects. So this is kind of like a webcast, podcast sort of thing, whatever you want to call it. So for those of you who don't know, this is my friend Matt, whose shed we are in. I'm currently residing at his property for the past, it feels like forever now.
Yeah, I can't even remember. Yeah.
It's about 6 weeks or so since this whole lockdown has been in place. We've just had some slight, relief of the rules slightly, so you're allowed to go outside and meet one person at a time. So we've had a little bit more freedom, but it's still very much lockdown and working from home life, which we both are doing at the moment. So I thought this was a good opportunity to, like I mentioned, talk about a variety of different things related to cars and just have a chat and just see what we enjoy doing and why we like cars so much. Anyway,
let's see where this goes, eh?
Huh?
Let's see where this goes. Eh?
Yes, exactly. So I mean, I like a lot of things. So you might have seen me obviously in my previous videos. If you're new to the channel, welcome. So let's start things off, shall we? So I've got a very crude little post-it note of what we're going to talk about. So let's talk about first cars, because we love cars, and I think, in my view, people who like cars the most are always the ones that have the shittiest car at the beginning. Is that a fair statement? Because if you start off with a nice car, you don't really appreciate nice cars later on in life, I don't think. Do you know what I mean? If you start off with a BMW 1 Series on finance as your first car, you think, oh, this is pretty decent, but no?
I'm not sure about that, especially because you could be using your parents' car.
You could be, yeah, that's true. I mean,
yes, you had shitty car. I mean, you have shitty cars.
Well, we'll go on to that. No, but you had shitty cars as well. Your first car. Well, anyway, so what was your first car then? Or what was the first car that you used? Or
well, technically, it was actually my brother's Peugeot 106, which I absolutely loved.
I remember that.
Driving a go-kart, but I'm pretty sure it had a fuel leak in it, because every time I topped up £10, I'd go, I don't know, I'd drive to Rustington and back.
Oh.
Obviously, my parents reside in Worthing, and I'd be out of fuel instantly. So, yes, plus, it didn't have to make a racket. I mean, yeah, it's basically like being in a tin can. So,
well, that sounds like the perfect first car, because my first car is was quite like that, really. I still got it to this very day, actually. It's the In-Betweeners Fiat Cinquecento, which
with the yellow door.
With a yellow door. I will actually do a video on that at some point, and there's a story about that car, and I've owned it for nearly 8 years now. Yeah, nearly 8 years. No. Yeah, 8 years. Yeah, 7.5, 8 years. So it's a long time. It's my first car. I've driven across the continent in it to another continent. But we won't go into that now. But yeah, it was a 0.9 litre Fiat Cinquecento, which I restored back up to sort of MOT glory, or basically roadworthiness, because it had so much rust underneath it. But great car, and that's how I think you get to truly appreciate a car, when you drive something so basic like that. But I think it's true though, don't you think? Because
no.
It had nothing on it. Had no electric windows, no power steering, no central locking.
So what you're actually saying is you can realise how you appreciate the nicer cars.
Yes.
Because you drove such a
shit piece.
Yes.
Yes.
Although I have to admit, they are really fun to drive. I would never want to drive along the M25 in it.
No.
Or any motorway whatsoever. In fact, probably outside of a residential area. But yeah.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because as you know, and obviously the viewers don't know, I took that car to uni, and I was at uni in Wales at the time, in Swansea, and it was a 220 mile trip each way, and it took about 4 hours. And I genuinely don't know to this day how I did that for about 4 years.
Yeah, you did that for a very long time.
A very long, but you get used to it because I didn't know what was better. But I had never tried anything else really. Now we'll go on to what we currently drive, and what I currently drive feels like a Rolls-Royce Phantom in comparison to that car, and that is
I don't blame you. I could definitely see.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, current drive. Well, what do we drive currently, shall I say? You go first. You can tell we're real car enthusiasts here when we tell you what we currently drive.
Do I have to?
Well, I think mine's worse than yours.
No, it definitely isn't.
Well,
yours was kind of semi-respectable at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're a 17-year-old right now, I feel like your car is probably.
Yeah, it's a reasonable.
For someone like you, it's not such a bad car, but.
Yeah, but we're not 17 anymore.
Anyway, what car is it you drive then?
I drive a Fiat Grande Punto 1.2 8 valve.
Oh yeah, I told you the other day about how a couple of months ago I only just realised that the P.
The P in the Grande Punto, and maybe I'll put an image of this on the screen when we edit this. Looks like a person sitting on a seat.
Yeah.
Which is no, I didn't notice that until you pointed it out to me. And yeah, it's a really interesting design. Designed by Giugiaro, which is a Italian style house, and so it's a good piece of design, I think.
Is that the lot who do?
They do. I think they did some Maseratis in the past.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ferraris, and I thought you were
No.
trying to compare your car.
No, I mean it is a Ferrari because obviously Fiat own Ferrari, so there is some pedigree in there. No, but the story behind that car. So I'll try and keep it brief really for the viewers. But I actually obtained that car off another very good friend of mine for free. Believe it or not, and this is actually one of 2 cars that I've obtained for free in my lifetime. And it basically, I had no money just before I was doing my masters. And my old car, which was again another Fiat Cinquecento, or Cinquecento, a sporting one that I had, completely disintegrated on me and failed an MOT, and I had no money. So he gave me this car, and it had a bit of a misfire problem with it, and I just basically took it for free and gradually fixed it, and it turns out it was just some injectors that needs to be replaced.
Which one was this, sorry?
The Punto that I got now.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the third one that you decided to take off someone's hands. The one that you sold, eventually.
What, the...
Last year.
Oh, what, the other Cinquecento?
Oh, mate, you've had so many.
I've had too many cars. We'll go. Maybe we'll do car history.
I really don't think that people want to know.
Well, I mean, maybe they might be interested. Well, anyway, so yeah, I currently drive that, and it's been touched with. It's just hit 90k this week. And I had it with 54k, and it's done me very well.
That's a very interesting topic, right? Because I meet a lot of people that think that 90,000 miles in a car is a lot.
Yes.
Right? Okay? Now I believe it actually shows whether you're a car enthusiast or not, whether you think that 90,000 miles in a car is a lot.
That's true. Right?
Because I meet a lot of people that, the finance people, no offence here to finance people, or leasing people, but they buy their cars and obviously they swap them in and they go, oh my god, it's got 30,000 miles on the car. And you're like, what?
Well,
what? 30,000 miles on the car? Anyway, and you're like, yeah, that isn't really, that's
for me, anything under 100 is low mileage.
I was going to say, it depends what you have, right? Because if a diesel has under, 150,000 miles, well, it depends on which diesel engine, but you're like, oh well, actually that's not too bad. Plus, obviously they're quite robust, so they'll go on forever.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I definitely think that is a way of telling whether people know their cars or not.
Yeah.
I used to tell. I personally think.
I mean, that's true. I mean, put it this way: the other free car that I obtained was as a silver VW Bora that I've given to my dad, and that's just hit 192,000 miles. Admittedly, it needs a clutch now, but I believe strongly that is the original clutch on the car. And if that is the original clutch, and I'm finding out on Monday actually, if it is, that I will be astonished that a clutch has survived nearly 200,000 miles. I think it just has to go to show, if you look after a car, it can go on for a while. And I think, particularly with small cars, regular servicing is key. But anyway, we've gone slightly off topic, but it's a good point. Anyway, Fiat Grande Punto, the slowest thing in the world.
Yeah, it truly is.
It just does not move, but
it's embarrassing, isn't it?
It's alright when you get up to speed, it's just getting up to speed is the issue.
Yeah, true. I reckon, I mean, I haven't driven it, but it's actually quite a nice fitted car inside. It's
a good amount of space.
Yeah, but it also feels like you know, like how, you know, modern day smaller cars, they feel like
quite cheap.
Yeah, and you can see the steel on the outside and the bodywork.
Yeah.
Whereas your car's quite, well, I don't want to say like it's sound. I don't know. It just feels quite
put together reasonably.
I wouldn't go that far. It's Italian.
Well,
but
yeah,
it's
true.
You sit in it and you it's almost cozy. That's what I was looking for. Cozy, right?
I mean, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's got terrible driving position, but you do get used to that. The
yeah,
pedals are so
down.
offset.
Yeah, you are super lying down.
Yeah. So, in terms of car enthusiast, I'm not doing a good job of telling you that I am a car enthusiast really with that current car, but I have had interesting cars in the past. But anyway, Matt, what do you currently drive?
Okay, I just want to highlight to everyone that this is not the car I want. Well, no, actually,
this car has actually been on the channel, I should say, so that's a bit of a clue.
Yeah.
So I've only done a few videos.
Let's just say I am a person, okay, and this is another topic we can talk about as well, that believes that if you can't buy the exact car you want and you don't have the money to buy it, right, there is no point in trying to find a car that you think might be the car that you want when you already know what it is that you want, okay?
Yeah.
Right?
I really always have this argument.
I really do not see the point, okay? Because you know the exact car you want, right? There is no point unless you. Oh no, I'm not.
Well, it's okay. Well, we'll go on to. So tell the viewers what you currently drive, and then we'll go on to what your dream car that that you and I aspire to own.
It's French.
Bad start. Oh God.
In fact, actually, I'm going to be proud of my car. It's a Citroen C1, and do you know what? What are you looking at me like that for? Excuse me, you actually quite like my car. You won't admit it.
We'll go on to that.
So you won't ever
We've done a
admit
review on it. So this is the C1 that I reviewed in my last video, and yes, it's. Do you know what? It's not a bad car. Like I said in the video.
It's a brilliant car.
The thing that makes it, mate, if it didn't have the panoramic, the sunroof on it, it'd be terrible.
Bollocks. I think personally, excuse my language there. Can you edit that out?
I can edit that out.
Yeah, cool. Or like, but you know, one of those.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we can drop one of them in.
So, what was I saying?
Well, you're saying you're quite proud of your car.
Yeah. Because.
But the roof, though, that's what makes it.
I'd have to admit, on a nice sunny day like it is today, I do think the roof is a lovely feature. But let's just say this, okay? Does anyone ever really need anything more than a C1 unless they have some sort of commercial use for it? Like, I don't know, lugging around things in the back of the van.
I mean, yes and no. I think if you, like in your, like what you do, if you potter around town and you've got a local commute, obviously at the moment we don't have a commute really, a lot of people, but if you do, that's a perfect car, I agree with you, it's cheap on tax, fuel, insurance.
And it's the 1.2, right, which means I have to admit, right, yours is a 1.2.
Yeah.
And it probably weighs a lot more than my car.
Yeah.
So my car is pretty damn quick.
Yeah, it's good round town.
Exactly. Plus, it's comfortable. Seats are really nice.
Yeah, French seats are good.
They're...
No, French are renowned for their comfy seats. No, they are, genuinely. You think I'm lying, but the viewers will back me up on this.
I'm sure they will. The seats are great. I think the interior is actually not that bad. Yes, I know from your review that the boot's pathetic, but I'm sorry, who really actually ever uses their boot all that often? Unless it's for work, right? Or, I don't know, transporting things. Because you're moving house or whatever. Anyway, so there's that, and I mean, it's got all the latest mod cons on it, right? It's
air
got
conditioning.
Yeah, in fact, and my model doesn't have this, but you can get the rear reversing cameras on it.
All right.
Okay, and also you can get the built-in sat nav to it, which I don't have as well. Right. I don't really need that because I know everywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I think the best part about it is it for your day-to-day stuff. So, I mean, having the Ford Fiesta beforehand, which was obviously
Oh yes.
was a lump of junk, right? But it was great because obviously you take stuff that tip in the boot and etc. etc. And it was perfect. But having a car that, for example, instantly connects to your phone, instantly connects to it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When you turn it on, when you get a call, it comes through. You just press the button instead. There's no like trying to put your phone on loudspeaker before you go off and phoning people. Have this stop on the side of the road to phone someone.
I mean, it's more because it's what 2015, isn't it? Something like that. 2015.
Oh, yeah, it's a 64 plate. Yeah, but 2015.
Yeah, so it's 2015. So it's relatively modern. Because my car's about 10 years older than that, so it's 15. Yeah, it's 2006. So it doesn't have any of that shit. And yeah, don't get me wrong, that must be quite a nice thing to have. Well, actually, before we go on to the dream cars, let's have a quick summary of our actual car history then. So the viewers actually know.
What we do, we'll bounce it off each other. So you go first.
Okay, so obviously we've already mentioned that my first car was a Fiat Cinquecento. Yours was a Peugeot 106.
I mean, technically it wasn't my
car.
car,
but you had access to it for your first car. Then my second car was another Fiat Cinquecento, but this time the Sporting in Bumblebee yellow, just like the one on the in-betweeners, to be fair. So that was my second car, which I can tell you a story another time why I actually bought that. I bought that for £220. But yeah, back in 2014. So yeah.
Wow.
But yeah. My first car I bought for 235 quid, so I was gradually going down. Anyway, so that was.
I think it's meant to go the other way.
Yeah, usually, but as you'll find out, the total sum of the cars that I've ever bought in my life comes to about £1,000.
Wow, that's actually quite impressive.
Yeah, well, semi, but anyway, so that was my second car, which I had access to. What about yours?
Mine was a Clio.
Oh, was this the black Clio?
This was the black Clio that obviously is renowned for its its limp mode. If anyone
did it have limp mode?
Anyone who has owned a Renault Clio can honestly they can really feel my pain right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm not just obviously Tokes also had the
black Clio as well.
Clio
that was quite funny. But him and another one of our friends had exactly the same car. And it's just
same problems as well, right?
Yeah. Was yours the Billabong or was his the Billabong?
No, his was the cool Billabong. Because you remember
I went with him to get the Billabong.
Yeah,
that's why I was in Arundel.
Do you remember? I found it really funny because obviously Billabong had the Renault Clio, and then Quicksilver had the
was
106.
It Peugeot?
Oh,
yeah.
And I was like, what? This is so weird.
Yes.
I don't think they've ever done anything quite like that ever because they realised.
Wait, so can we just clarify for the viewers? Remember, what's Billabong? What do they actually do again? Is it like sports equipment?
Well, it's like a skating brand, isn't
yeah,
it?
Yeah. And Quicksilver's like something that's similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I say, car manufacturers don't tend to do that nowadays, do they? I don't see it. It's not like you can get a modern Citroen with.
Again, it was a very. I mean, that's a very a very
noughties thing,
noughties
isn't
kind
it?
of thing.
Yeah.
Like, noughties,
Because we're talking about the era, like what year? That must have been about 2003 or 4. Clio.
One was 2002.
2002, right.
Yeah. Guess what though? I swapped it in. Oh, but hang on. We'll explain in the next. So anyway, your next car.
So my next.
By the way, I loved the Clio. It was a brilliant driving car.
Yeah.
It was really easy to drive. It was lovely. It was really. The boot was massive.
Yeah.
It's just obviously being a French car has an electrical problem.
French cars from that era are troublesome for electrics. We know that.
I think French cars in general are kind of.
But yeah, they've improved I think a bit since then. Like
they've kind of had to, haven't they?
Well, yeah, true. The main competitive odds,
Yeah.
They go under. But so my next car after that. So I hadn't actually sold any of my. So my first and second car I hadn't sold at this point. I still had them, but my next car that I upgraded to, and this was an upgrade for me, was an Alfa Romeo 166 2-litre twin spark, which I absolutely loved and hated at exactly the same time. It was a very love-hate relationship with that car. So yeah, I had that. So I had all those 3 cars at the same time, and then there's a funny story that comes after this. So yeah, that was my next car, which is a lovely, rare beast. You don't see many of them on the road, and there's good reason for that.
Yeah.
So what was yours then?
You don't see many on the road because, I mean, they're not very fashionable, neither wanted nor.
Well, I liked it. I think I love it.
I have to admit, it was comfortable inside.
Oh god, it's like a boat. It was so comfy.
Sasha, it was so ugly.
Nah, I liked it. Okay,
the colour as well. What colour was it again? It was like a bluey grey.
Oh, yeah, it was like I like to call it gunmetal grey.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't gunmetal.
It probably wasn't gunmetal. It was like I think you're right. I think it was a dark blue.
It was stock grey.
It was a nice car.
It was a stock grey.
And I paid £440 for that car.
Yeah, but you probably paid what?
Well, I lost a
triple
load of
that.
money on it. I mean, I spent about another grand easily on top for various repairs, which perhaps we'll go into. But yeah, that was my third car. So what about you then?
Oh, I can't remember at that point. Yeah, this was probably, remember?
Oh, I think I remember.
Yeah, mine was an MG ZS.
Oh god, fucking hell.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, but I
Excuse
did get
my
it for an
language.
unbelievable price, and it had like 15,000 miles on it. And I have to admit, oh, and by the way, I bought it off the president. Oh no, sorry, I didn't buy it off the president. The garage I got it from, I don't know how legit this is, right? Told me that it was actually the president of the MG Owners Club's old MG.
Right.
So it was super well looked after.
Yes.
Okay, and obviously my initials are MG.
Yes, of course.
So that was another reason why I bought it. It was completely stupid, but I just needed a car. I do have that trouble where because it's not a car I want, I just want a car that works. So I will buy a car. Although I did put those really nice wheels on it, and you did really like those.
You did.
Wheels.
I did
actually
like
did
the
all
wheels.
those wheels myself as well.
Yeah, I mean the wheels were good. The colour was good. It was like that burgundy red colour, which I actually quite liked.
I absolutely hate that colour.
Oh right. Well, my issue was it was a 2006, I think, on a 55 plate. I remember that reg for something.
Yeah, it was
It's
a
the same
55
as my current car.
Mm.
And for a car that was essentially made in 2006, it felt like when you stepped in the interior, it was like going back into 1985, because the interiors. They hadn't changed anything because that car was based on the Civic, I think. They did a collaboration with Honda.
Yeah, it was almost like Honda. So what was it? The Honda Civic, which was what, the 1990.
Early 90s, I think.
I don't think it was that early. I think it was.
Or
I think
maybe
it was
mid-90s.
to late. But anyway, it is identical.
It was
the interior.
yeah.
If you were in, you wouldn't know. If you were blindfolded and it was taken off when you were in the car, you honestly.
And the
wouldn't
issue with those cars as well is they had terrible engines, because even though your one was low mileage, it already had a head gasket done. I remember.
Yeah. So the guy.
And how many miles did you get it with?
15,000.
15,000 miles, I think, and those were the terrible K series. Well, they were good engines. They just always blew their head gaskets.
Very true. I mean, any Rover's not really a wanted car as it is anyway. But
True.
I have to admit, obviously, it was really well looked after. Plus, a lot of people who did like MGs, I don't know why, what they decided to do was pretty much change the head gasket every 10,000 miles.
That's just not economical, though, is it? A head gasket's a big job. I mean, I've done one on the Cinquecento, and that takes time. It's not a cheap job. You're talking like at least 500 quid
Okay.
every 10,000 miles just for a head gasket. So essentially, what you're saying is every time you need to service the car, you need to do the head gasket as well.
Essentially, yes. But okay, let me put it to you like this though, right? How much have you spent collectively on your cars fixing your shit pieces?
Wow. I don't know. I tend to
So,
think many thousands of pounds.
And let's be honest, your cars aren't. Obviously, I'm not trying to offend you here,
Well,
but let's just talk facts. Your cars aren't the most desirable cars.
well, I think the Alpha was desirable.
No, I really don't think so.
Fiat Cinquecento.
Maybe to an 85-year-old man. But anyway, so I can't remember where I was going with this now.
Well, my cars aren't desirable, so you're saying putting your head gasket on your MG was...
There's going to be some people out there that like the MG. Why? I have no idea.
Well, nobody wants an MG ZS. Do they? If they do, maybe comment on the section below. Be interesting to see what the viewers think.
If you get someone, I'm not sure what I'll do.
Well-
If I get any person that likes that car, I will. I'm not entirely sure what I'd do.
Well, okay. Yes. Yeah. I mean, so you had that car, and that came to an end quite drastically, didn't it?
Yeah, so I was driving along the A27 one day, just minding my own business, and the lady in front of me smashed into a puddle and was...
This was in very bad rain, wasn't it? Pouring rain, wasn't it? Well, that's
It was like a flash flood. It was really weird. It came out of nowhere. Anyway, obviously you go under that tunnel on the A27. Yeah, you obviously there's no lighting under there.
Yeah.
So she just hits the puddle and then she just starts to skid sideways.
Mm.
So and there was a BMW 5 Series to my left, and I had 3 seconds to work out what to do, and it was either I moved out of the way, smashed into him, or I just literally collided with her.
Yeah.
And I thought, fuck me, I can't sorry, excuse my language again. Can we get an analyse?
Yeah, we can get a beep on.
And I thought, well, I can't. In a split second, I thought, I can't smash into a 5 Series. So anyway,
so you took out the woman in a
yeah,
was
she
it
was
a Peugeot?
No, it was like a Honda. I think it was an old Honda Jazz actually.
No, right. So you definitely made the right choice there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So which is really weird though, because her whole back of her car got completely smashed in and crumpled.
Yeah.
Like, and mine, it was like the front right hand side of my car, but because obviously my car's worth nothing because it's an MG, it was actually cheaper for the insurance company to write it off.
Yeah,
and like I said, it had virtually no mileage on it, and it was just, the interior is actually not too bad. It's a really nice sized car as well. But anyway,
so I suppose this then goes on to our next car. So you tell the viewers first what your 4th car would have been then. So after that,
holy crap! What was after that? Or was it the Seat?
I don't know. I think it might have been.
Yeah. So I don't think I bought
And again, this was your brother's old.
Yeah.
No, wait. What about the MX?
No. This was definitely the Seat. So I've had the Seat twice actually. So,
oh right, okay.
So my family has this car. It's a Seat. Well, not anymore.
Had,
you know,
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. that, because it was a great little car actually. It was pretty nifty as well. It was a 1.4 Seat Ibiza. I can't remember the year.
It was. I think it was the year 2000. I seem to remember.
But it was that engine. That was a really great 1.4 engine they put in the Polo, I think.
Yeah, probably.
The Polo, and also this. There was another one, the Skoda. I can't remember, whatever. But yeah, really really nice car to drive. It's like driving a go-kart, but I even had a sunroof on it as well.
It did, yes.
And it was worth nothing, but it was brilliant. Perfect little car. And guess what? I have this thing, right? Touch wood. Right, that for some reason I can take a crap car and I can stick it through its MOT and somehow it passes. Okay?
That's a skill. Unfortunately, I don't have that.
Yeah, you
skill.
don't know. Yeah.
No.
No, that's very true. So I've done that about 3 times, I think now. So I took the Seat Ibiza for its MOT, and all it needed was a tyre.
Yeah.
And my whole entire family was gobsmacked, including myself. I don't think I probably was the most gobsmacked out of it. So all it cost me was a new tyre. Right.
Bargain.
Anyway, so yeah, that went through its MOT.
So you had that for a bit.
I had that for a bit. I mean, it must have been a few months.
Yeah.
Do you want to go on to your next car before I talk?
No, I think we're on a roll here.
Okay. And then after that was the MX-5, which I absolutely adored.
So this was a Mark II MX-5.
Absolutely.
Early one,
Early
98, 99, I think.
Yeah.
98, I think. So
Yeah,
this is
98.
the real base spec, no electric windows in it.
Yeah, but it had a hard top.
It had a hard top. It was the British Racing Green, which I know you hate.
Yes, I hate that colour.
And that was a great car, admittedly. That was
Rear-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel drive.
Well, actually, no, it wasn't a great car because in the rain, so I used to work about, I don't know, 15 miles from where we lived, and I had to go along a main busy dual carriageway, and when it used to rain, it used to be like driving in a puddle consistently. Yeah. So I couldn't really ever go over, I don't know, 55 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Because the back end would just want to come out all the time.
Yeah.
So every single day driving to work and driving back in the rain, I honestly was bricking myself.
Yeah.
I had so much anxiety with that car, bless it. But it was a brilliant car to drive.
I mean, these are the days where the MX-5, there was no traction control, there was nothing like that. Well, so you had that for a bit, and then
I had to obviously sell. Well, actually,
did you buy that, or was that your brother's old one?
So it was my brother's old one. Obviously, there's a trend here.
I was going to say, there's a lot of trends here. You're getting a lot of hand-me-down cars from your brother.
Like I said to you, it's because they're easy access, right? You get them instantly. You get them for a good price because they're from your brother. Anyway, I also loved that MX-5. There was. I didn't think I would do, but I mean the convertible thing in the sun as well. I think I had it. Did I have it in this summer 2 summers ago as well, where it was like, I don't know, 25 degrees every day for about 8 weeks. I'm pretty sure I did.
No, I thought it was a bit before. I don't know. Can't
remember.
Anyway,
who knows? So yeah, I had that, and then I took it for an MOT, and it's really weird. This may not seem like. Oh no, hang on. I had to do some work on it first. I had to change the seals.
Yeah, classic rust spots.
Yeah, so I did that. Got my cousin to weld that. Just re-spray painted it all, and it was quite good actually. I think I did a pretty good job. Anyway, so then took it for an MOT Yeah, it must have been 2 summers ago, actually. And the only thing that was actually wrong with it was the rusting of the chassis on the rear. I think the rear. I can't remember.
Rear quarter somewhere in there.
Yeah, it was something like that. Anyway, so but that was literally it. That was the only thing it didn't pass the MOT, and which is what I'm trying to say to you is that for some reason I don't know what it is. Like
maybe you need to take my cars for MOTs and then.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried to do it for Tokes this last year, and it still came back with. I think it only works for my cars.
So if I signed the V5 over,
me, yeah.
and it'll be alright, then you sign it back on.
Yeah.
Sorted. If you need an MOT and you're not confident of it passing, give it to this man. We'll drop his details in the link below.
For a small fee.
I'll
get the MOT certified for you. Anyway.
So you had that, and then obviously that died a death because that was absolutely corroded at one stage.
Yeah, obviously. So whilst I was going to try and fix it. Do you remember I had that thing for about a good, I don't know, maybe
for a while,
3-4 months, or I was like, I really want to fix it because I really liked that car. And it would just be a car that just sit on the driveway and anyone could use because it's a nice convertible car, take it out in the sun. Anyway, so after that, so whilst between those 3 to 4 months, I was driving the Seat back again, which again I didn't mind because I loved driving that car. It was cracking. Yeah, honestly, it sounded really good as well.
It did have a fruity exhaust.
Yeah, but with
it might have had a hole in it.
Yeah,
but that makes it sound better.
Yeah, true. Anyway, so
so
I had that, and then I obviously unfortunately had to sell it, but I sold it to a really nice guy who had the identical model to mine.
This was the MX-5.
This was the MX-5. Yeah. Really nice guy, and he. Maybe I should, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll just tell this story. So the guy rocks up at the house, right, and a really nice guy, and he's got one. He says he needs all the parts from it. Oh, him and his mate wanted to share all the parts from it, right?
So they're using it as a donor vehicle.
A complete donor vehicle, everything from it, right? So we signed it all up, and obviously gave all the paperwork. And this guy, he decides he's brought his number plate with him. Right. So his car is identical to mine.
Right.
I'm talking. He told me it was like down to the interior.
Yeah.
It was all the same. Anyway, he he gets his number plate, and he sticks double-sided sticking tape or whatever, and he literally just sticks it onto my number plate.
Yeah.
And obviously this is completely illegal.
Yeah.
And he drives it back to and he lives in Horsham, so not far, again, like, I don't know, 15 miles away.
Wait, so what did he do with his car that he took the number plates off?
Oh, so he carried on using it, but obviously that failed its MOT as well, it needed a lot of work doing to it. But anyway, so he basically just stuck his number plate onto mine.
Quite clever, actually.
I thought it was pretty good as well, but me and my dad
illegal.
looked at it.
Wouldn't recommend this.
Don't try this at home. But yeah, me and my dad looked at each other and we were like, what? Well, we never saw that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so, it was a really nice guy, and I'm really glad I gave it to, used him as a friend. I'm quite an enthusiast of them, so I was glad that even though someone wasn't going to restore it, that the parts from it were going to be
good. They're going to carry on the life of another MX-5.
Exactly, especially one that was the same colour.
Yeah.
Or I don't know who took what parts, but anyway. So, there was that, and then, what did I?
So you had that, and then obviously you had the Seat for a bit, and I remember that died. This guy is a car killer, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I am a car killer, it's very true. It didn't die, okay, so...
It did die.
It didn't, so there was something wrong with the fuel injection, but do you remember for like a good 6 months I was spraying...
Yeah, Easy Start or Carb Clean or whatever it was. I don't know, anyway.
It worked.
It did, but yeah.
Anyway,
so
then all of a sudden I think basically it gave up and was like, okay, I actually need some fuel.
Yes.
To be injected into the engine now. So
that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, so so I had that. Obviously, that died.
So while we're on the roll, we may as well go to your next car. Which can you tell the viewers? Did you buy it or did you inherit the next car?
Oh no, I definitely bought it, but it was inherited once again. So I bought my brother's Fiesta. Ford Fiesta, what was it? Was that an 02?
No, I think it was an 53.
Was it really?
Yeah,
I can't remember, mate, to be totally honest.
It was around the 2003 4 mark. That sort of era
Fiesta. It was HK4, yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was no full plate.
In a great colour, wasn't it?
Oh, probably the best colour. Yeah, it was that gunmetal grey.
No, it was like a baby diarrhea beige that had a faded bonnet on it. But yeah, I mean, it was good.
To be fair,
it did the job.
I have to admit, it's actually a really nice car to drive. Like, it's quite simple, and the clutch was really nice. The gears were actually really nice.
Fords are quite good at that.
Yeah, and the driving position was actually quite nice. It wasn't completely lying down, but it had such a giant boot, and you could fold down the seats completely. And obviously, you know that I'm a man who likes to do a good old DIY project. I'd say I'm a DIY enthusiast.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, exactly. So I could chuck anything I needed to in the back of it, and it was perfect. And then all of a sudden, what was it? How many months ago? About 4 months ago.
That's a great story.
I was driving along, and all of a sudden, I hear this knocking noise, and it just starts to get louder and louder and louder, and then all of a sudden it sounds like I'm one of those douchebags that puts one of those big old fucking exhausts on my car, and it just makes an absolute racket. Anyway, so lucky enough I was only about, I don't know, half a mile away from the house, so obviously drove it back, looked underneath it, couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, so then I asked my dad to come and have a look a day later, and it was one of those things that was so obvious but not quite, because you're obviously looking at it, you can't see anything wrong with it. And he says, I'll come underneath the car, and I was like, okay. And then he's like, yeah, just put your finger here and push. So on the engine, comes straight out the engine, is the catalytic converter. The bottom of the seal from the catalytic converter going onto the exhaust system, and actually just rusted away and dropped out.
That's inconvenient.
So I was obviously pushing it, it was bouncing. So yeah, I mean, there is a massive story around this car.
Yes, there is.
So yeah, so I planned to fix it, and I bought the catalytic converter for about £100.
Which we've got still, and if anyone wants to buy it,
anyone needs a 1.4 litre Ford
2004 Fiesta.
I think it probably goes all the way up to 2008. I think that model, but I'm not entirely sure.
Give us a shout.
Yeah, you can have it if you want it. Actually, just got to get rid of it. So So then I planned to fix it, and I actually took a Friday off to fix it. What was it, about 3-4 months ago now? So had the part, had everything ready, and I opened up the bonnet just before I was about to leave, and this thing makes an absolute racket. So I'm talking, it wakes you up the entire neighbourhood. So I decided to leave at 9 o'clock in the evening, just because obviously I didn't want the police to catch me either. And bearing in mind at about 4 o'clock in the evening, when I got back from work, 4 or 5 o'clock, I opened up the bonnet, just to see if there's anything else I needed to take with me. I was actually going to fix the plastic head that goes on the engine.
Right.
It wasn't correctly on there. I was going to fix that. So I went to go get the right spanner head for it, and socket set, sorry. And then I left the bonnet open. Okay, not like fully open, just like slightly open, and I completely forgot. And about 9 o'clock at night, I start to drive the car, and things are going okay. It's obviously making a racket. Took my headphones with me just to make sure I wasn't deaf by the end of it. And then I get about halfway, and I hit a dual carriageway. No, dual carriageway. And I went, oh yeah, I could. Do you know what? I could probably, go a little bit quicker than 35 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Got to about 40, 42 mile an hour, and all of a sudden the bonnet flies open, smashes against my windscreen. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I've never been so scared in my life.
I remember you telling me this story. This was early this year in January, pre-Rona, or about before the UK anyway. And I was absolutely shitting myself in this Indian restaurant that we're at because I just couldn't believe it was true.
Anyway, so the car that was coming opposite me obviously slammed on its brakes. We both nearly crashed and collided, but then I quickly pulled down the steering wheel and moved off into the left, like onto the grass. Then I obviously come around the front. The entire windscreen is smashed.
Yes.
Right? the bonnet is completely buckled, and you know that plastic tray in between the windscreen and the bonnet. Well, that was completely cracked,
mangled.
Yeah. So anyway, I tried to shut the car bonnet, and then it obviously wouldn't shut.
Yeah.
I thought, shit me, what am I going to do? I don't have breakdown cover or anything.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just have to drive back to my parents. Anyway, so it was about another, I don't know, probably about another 4-minute drive, and I thought, crap, if the police find me, I'm actually screwed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to lose my licence, everything. So I get back in my car, and I try to keep the speed at about 30 mile an hour, and everyone's passing me, and everyone's giving me the weirdest looks ever, and I'm like, okay, fine, fair enough, I probably deserve that.
Yes.
Anyway, so I'm driving towards my parents' house, and I get onto another dual carriageway, so I turn onto the dual carriageway, and I see this police car,
Yeah.
right, and its sirens then start to go off, and I quickly, again, just like basically throw the car into a bush on the side of the road. And
oh my god.
and then
that doesn't look suspicious at all.
No, not at all. And anyway, so I then waited for the police car to I think it was
You was expecting the worst.
3 minutes, absolutely. Good 3 minutes, or 3-4 minutes. I waited on the side there, turned all my lights off, right, tried to go incognito.
So was this police car? Sorry, was it on like coming from behind you? Was this the other side of the road?
No, this was, so you know when you on a slip road.
Yeah.
And the police car comes and you obviously join the slip.
Yeah.
Road. Well, I was on the slip road, and I just see this police car come past me, and I'm not even joking you. This is no word of a lie either. He turns his sirens on the moment that I virtually see him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm done for. I'm
Yeah,
finished.
yeah,
I'm done for. He's coming after me, and then he obviously just races off, and I just shove it into a bush. Anyway, so obviously trying to take it, getting back in the car, turning it all on, turning the lights on. Obviously then pulling away, scratching my car entirely from the bushes. I then eventually get to my parents' house, and my dad goes, "Holy, what have you done?"
Yeah.
And I then said,
We're not fixing this car anymore.
We're not fixing. I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he went. I think we both realised at that point that we were like, no, this is just way too far gone. Anyway, so it turns out that Friday, rather than fixing my car, I went to go out and find a car, and I just needed a car that worked, and this is how the C1 happened.
Yeah.
Also was obviously thinking about, the I think genuinely when you get to a point of like starting to have an adult life, a reliable car really does matter.
Yeah, I haven't reached that stage yet, but I will get. I can relate to you because I think as you get older, you start to appreciate these things more. So, so basically, that's your car history. Quite an interesting one in terms of not so much the cars themselves, but how they die. I think that's quite interesting. Because to be honest with you, my car history doesn't really get incredibly exciting since I had the Alfa. Like I said, I had the Alfa and the two Cinquecentos. And this is how the whole story about getting the Punto came about, because at that moment in time, the original Cinquecento had failed its MOT, and that was just stuck at my parents' garage, and I was intending on fixing it up, but obviously had no money being a uni student. The Alfa I kept at my parents' as well for a stage because I couldn't afford to run it when I got back to uni in my third year, so I was like, oh, when I finish uni I can afford to run it. Anyway, that just never really happened. And then I had the yellow Cinquecento as well. So, long story short, I sold the Alfa because I couldn't afford to run it anymore, and it was terrible and never worked. And the Cinquecento failed its MOT. This is the yellow one. I had no money at all. So this is when my friend gave me the Punto, about nearly 3 years ago now. And yeah, I've still got it basically.
Have you paid him back for it yet?
No, the agreement is when I come to sell it.
It'll be worth nothing.
No, it won't. It'll be worth millions. No, it won't be worth a lot, but it'll be worth something. But and in between then, sorry, I've owned another Cinquecento, which I then had for about 6 months and then sold. Another sporting, and I temporarily owned this year. Same car as you at one stage, a Mark II Mazda MX-5, which I was talking about having a convertible for a while. Anyway, I bought this lovely MX-5.
I think at this point we should both show our MX-5s.
Yes.
Like picture-wise.
Yeah. So I mean, mine was a Mark II like Matt's, but it was the 10-year anniversary edition, which I I thought was great, and it meant that you've got a few mod cons. So you've got a 6-speed manual gearbox to stand, you've got a limited slip differential, 10 CD auto changer. It was in this lovely dark blue with a hard top as well. Great car, absolutely loved it. I bought it for, that was the most expensive car I've ever bought actually. I bought it for 950 quid. And great, loved it, but fortunately had to sell it after 3 weeks because massive change in circumstances. This was actually pre-lockdown. I was changing job, etc., etc., and it just wasn't viable for me to have 2 cars. So anyway, that's kind of like my car history. They didn't die anything in particular, like nothing particularly as catastrophic as what's happened with your cars, but they're all been terrible. So yeah, it was the only non-Italian car I've ever owned actually, even though it was for 3 weeks. Conscious of time, obviously, because we're getting to 45 minutes or so, believe it or not. So we'll kind of, because if people are interested, maybe we'll do another one. We can talk more about other things as well. So I think just quickly we'll end on, I suppose, this sort of question. So we've owned all these cars, and we currently own the cars that we do. So what's the dream car? So like, not necessarily anything that's particularly viable at the moment, or may never be. Well, I don't know. Depends what your aspirations are, I suppose. But what's your dream car of owning?
There are many cars I would like to own.
I know, but if somebody said, Matt, you can afford to run this car that you're going to buy. Here's the money. There's a pot of money there. Not necessarily money, no object. Like we're not talking. Maybe like put a boundary. Like not millions or anything like that. We're talking, good few thousand though.
Are we talking over 100 grand?
I mean, you could go to. I'm just
Okay, right. So obviously you already know. Most of the viewers don't know. I'm a huge American Muscle fan.
Yes.
Believe it or not. And I do like a nice Italian. Obviously Italian, but I also do like a nice European or British car. Like, is there such a thing anymore? Anyway, so I do really like them, and I can appreciate cars, but there's not, for me, the most characteristic cars I've ever seen are American muscle cars, right? And they're beautiful. They're super beautiful to look at. So I would like, if I could, my dream car is to have probably a 1965 GT350 Mustang.
Right.
That's very specific, but I would probably
Is this fastback?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a GT350.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
actually a fastback. Yeah.
Right.
It's fine. You're forgiven. So
I'm not a massive American muscle car fan, but anyway.
For me, I don't care about the fact that it's not the quickest car or it's not. They are just pieces of art. They are beautiful.
How much would one of them set you back nowadays, roughly?
So you can probably get one for about 50 grand, but if you want one that's obviously got the engine you want. So Mustang, so Ford, with these big block engines, they made like, so I think they made like, I don't know, an engine for every alphabet type, for every letter in the alphabet. So from A spec to like Z spec or something like that.
What, just for the Mustang?
No,
just in general.
For I think in general. But yeah, probably something like that, or I don't know, a Camaro, something like that. So something that's just a nice.
Something American muscle though is the theme. Is the
for
feeling
sure,
I'm getting.
For sure, but I also that wouldn't be my daily.
But this is your dream car. Not necessarily you have to use it daily. This is just your dream car that you aspire to own one day. Yeah. That's a good. I think, like I said, I'm not massive. I can appreciate the old Mustangs, but if it was money or my money that was good, it's not something I'd buy. My dream car, it's an interesting one. I'm a big Italian car fan. My mum's Italian as well, so I think that's somewhere in the genes. But for me, not necessarily something that massively expensive. You can probably like 20k, maybe 25k, could probably get a really good one. And it's the original Alfa Romeo Spider. Oh, actually, no, I did trap that. Not a Spider. GTV6. GTV6 Alfa Romeo. One of the two. Can't decide. An Alfa Romeo.
I actually really like that GT36, but I genuinely think that it only is decent in that red colour.
Yeah, I'd agree. But a GTV6, for about 20-25 grand, like you could probably get a really nice one, and I would love to own one of them. Even though they're fundamentally Ford. If you go, if you watch the Grand Tour.
Wait, hang on a minute. So that would be your absolute dream car.
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah. 100%.
So if I gave you money, right, up to say £250,000, you would buy
As my like dream car, like that, not as we said, we don't have to use it daily or anything like that. That would be the car that I would have in my garage that I'd take out on nice days and weekends. Because for
You're
me,
meant to be a car person, right?
yeah, I am, viewers. If you agree, maybe we should put a poll or something like that about who prefers what person's dream car.
Why don't we put my car next to your car?
Yeah, well, we could do that. Yeah, we could do that. And I think you'll find that a lot of people are going to agree with me, or maybe disagree. But that would be my dream. If it had to be a daily, maybe we'll finish on this. If it had to be my daily car, like if I won the lottery tomorrow and needed a daily car, so something that's reliable, something that's doesn't necessarily have to be massively economical, but something that you could use every day. Again, it would be an Alfa Romeo. Again, it would be the new Giulia Quadrifoglio. That would be my daily because it's fast, it's big, it's practical, it's stylish. That's
you get the Quadrifoglio, not the
not the Stelvio, not the taller one. The Saloon.
All right.
And they're only about, I say only, but they're about 60k brand new, which I think is, to be honest with you, the bargain of the century because it's essentially got a Ferrari engine in it.
I mean, not really, but
well, it has. It's just got 2 cylinders. Not anyway. That's besides the point. What about you though, Kate? We'll maybe finish on this. So like your daily car. Somebody says, look, and maybe we'll put a price. Say like no more than 100k.
No, that's too much. I'd say no more than about 20, 30 grand.
Oh well, that means mine's not part of the thing.
Yeah, but
you just quoted the 60k car.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. So you would buy.
Anyway,
this is how we're different, right?
Yeah.
So you would buy your dream car in a fraction of the price of the car that you would drive around.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's not. I don't think just because it's a dream car doesn't mean it has to be the most expensive car in the world.
Yeah, but all right. So the way I see it is a dream car is almost a little bit of an investment as well.
Yeah, well,
I don't know how other people feel about that, but I feel like it sits in it sits in your garage. You don't drive it a lot.
Yeah, a GTV6 is an investment. I think they'll go up in value. He says. I think they would. I think they will. There will never be millions of pounds. To get me wrong, but okay. What about you then?
Okay. Okay. So
something that you have to use daily.
There's quite a few cars I'd probably like to use daily. Okay, right. There's probably 3 main ones. I'll probably go for a Range Rover Sport, but only because I've always wanted to know what it actually. And I've been in a few of them, not specifically sports, but they are. Okay, they are brilliant cars. No matter what anyone says, I mean, I know they're gas cars, and they're basically
as well.
I don't know about that, but I mean, yes, they are basically causing global warming. Just those cars themselves, but they are fantastic cars inside and out. Like they're brilliant.
Fair enough. I mean,
they are beautiful.
I like the standard Range Rover. I don't like the Range Rover Sport.
Well, if you see the Range Rover Sport and that nice blue colour it comes in, it's just incredible. It's like,
but
you love a deep blue. Anyway, so there's that.
I
would love an M2.
M2, yeah, good car.
What an absolute cracking. Also in that blue colour it comes in.
Blue car, manual gearbox. It's a good choice.
Absolutely unbelievable car that is.
That's a good daily, I think.
That would be an extremely good daily car. And the third would be.
Alfa Giulia?
Definitely not.
Oh, right.
I think it'd be an XE. Something like that, like a sporty version of an XE. Yeah.
No,
that's also because I could give it to my dad as well, so my dad could have use of it whenever he wants, like whenever I'm at work, or he can have it weekends.
Yeah. I mean, Jags are nice. We actually got a friend of ours got an XE actually.
Oh yeah, hasn't he? Yeah.
So,
good choice of car actually. In fact, that's definitely a good topic. Why don't more people buy Jags rather than?
Well, maybe we'll do a comment. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm glad that you just didn't go for something the typical German like BMW, Audi, Mercedes, but
boring.
That's another topic. Well, I think as we're approaching the hour mark shortly, it's probably a good idea to wrap this up for the time being. So,
I'm really need a haircut, you know.
So do I, mate. Well, it's the problem. We're gonna have to wait to at least July earliest to be able to get a haircut. By the looks of things.
I mean, I'll cut yours. You cut mine.
No, thank you. Right. You've actually had a haircut in lockdown anyway, because obviously your partner gave it to you. But look, so if you enjoyed the whatever we want to call this, a podcast, webcast, because you can see us and then please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notifications when we upload a new post. And obviously, thank you, Matt, for joining us on the podcast. And if you want to see more of these, then I think maybe we could make these maybe a weekly
In
occurrence.
fact, what
or
I
something
would really
like
is people to throw out topics at us to talk about.
That'd be good. Maybe I might put that on the old Instagram as well, just to see what people are interested in topic wise. Because this is, this channel is predominantly about cars and motoring. It doesn't necessarily have to be just about cars. We can talk about other things in and around related to it. But yeah, please give us some comments. We'll put a link and so on and so forth. And stay well, stay safe, and enjoy whatever you're doing in this semi-lockdown. We've been plastering the shed, so we've been having loads of fun.
We built a barbecue as well, didn't we?
We did build a barbecue. Well, that's Argos barbecues. Be careful of them.